And we are live. Welcome back, Internet. It has been quite a while since we have posted on this channel. We are essentially starting from scratch with the new season of Survivor, season 41. It's been a long wait. How stoked are you? Oh, by the way, this is my brother Drew. I'm Dave.
Hey guys.
How do you like first impressions of the episode? What did you like?
I mean, the first thing I can think of is his intro, and I remember you telling me after you saw it, you're like, "Oh, the intro's good, dude."
I got a little teary eyed. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It was nice.
Well, it was like that was the main thing that stuck out when he said that. He's like, it's been a while, and then I think at one point, like when they get on the boat, he's like, "Yeah, it's been too long," and everybody's had that feeling, right, these days. But like, just like like, and they said it a few times in the episode, but it does feel like a new game. It does feel like Survivor involved. Do you know, like, or
yeah, good point.
2.0, like taking away that many days, right? And just like all the stuff that's going on right now, like there's, I don't know. I think people are going to love it. There's so much to talk about. Man, just the amount of days that are gone, right? So, in that comment that Jeff's making, like, there's going to be nowhere to hide. You're not going to have any time to breathe. Like, and I was like, what does he mean by that? And then by the time the episode's done, you're like, wow, man, that was savage. Like, it was good. So far, like, I loved it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's so much they changed this season with 3 tribes, 6 people. It was 6 people each.
Yeah.
And that means that's and 2 people getting voted out in the first episode. Like, things are a quicker pace.
But not even just like, I mean, and I think I kind of like that there's penalties, right? Like, that was always one of my favorite Jeff lines. I've got nothing for you. It's even worse than that now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm going to have to ask you to give up your flint. Like, sorry, man.
Yeah.
Didn't make the cut. It's like, oh, like that's, it's got a sting, like, but it's even just like the whole, like, the first challenge, like just getting off the boat, like one team, right? Like well, yellow can't even find one of the oars, right?
Well, yeah,
but the other team forgets to detach from the anchor, and it was like the pressure just feels like it's amped up to 11 now
that's a very good point.
To be fast, but you have to be concise too, because like those little mistakes in that panic are so costly now, right? It's it's
well, why don't we just begin at the beginning?
Sure.
Jeff's walking through the forest, gives us a speech about, he says he misses us. I really liked that halfway through his speech, he just goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm just going to hide this right here in a tree trunk, and then I'm going to continue talking, and you're just going to have to blow past that." And you're like, "What?" Because you've never seen a hidden idol, or I think he called it the beware reward, because there's risk associated to it. But I've never seen an idol hidden right there on camera. I've always been curious how they decide it. Do they plan it? And Jeff just out of nowhere just, I'm going to put it right here. Save that for later. Keep on going.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah.
So it cuts to the boat. Everyone's on the boat. One thing I actually kind of liked, because they do the whole shot of the 3 tribes on the 3 pontoon boats kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that they did a good job of sort of highlighting every character.
Right.
Like, every character got a good 30 seconds to a minute where it showed pictures from home. They told their story about watching it with their kids, or I'm doing this for my grandmother.
Yeah.
So I did like that they highlighted all the individual characters. But so they get on the boat. What did you think about Jeff's question to the 3 tribes? He asks them, normally whenever there's challenges, I say, "Come on in, guys." Does anyone have a problem with the term "guys" in there? What did you think about this? Because I've got some stuff to say.
I mean, honestly, like, these days, like, there's so much that's happened politically, socially, like, on the planet since the last time Survivor was on, and I'll be the first to admit that there's, a lot of stuff in society that needs healing and needs changing. I thought it was an important question to raise. And I'm kind of, I don't know, I was kind of surprised that nobody was like, had anything really good to offer, in the beginning. But I think at the same time, in a game like Survivor, you can't. Yeah, my cat's here as well, by the way.
It's all good. It's all good.
No one wants to single themselves out on the first day. Do you know what I mean? No one wants to make waves,
Good point.
and I don't think anybody's really offended by that necessarily. But having the conversation, I think, is important. Like 2021, yeah, we need to have those conversations, in my opinion. But
I guess I was mostly like, when Jeffers brought it up, I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna change it. Fair enough. Yeah, sure, whatever. It's 2021. Say whatever you want, Jeff.
right.
And then when all the 3 tribes were like, no, keep it the same. Like, what are you supposed to, like, what else are you gonna say, Jeff? And I was like, oh, okay. Some things are just untouchable. I thought. I was kind of like, okay. Like, I personally kind of don't care either way, whatever he says. But the "come on in, guys" is so like iconic, a Jeff line.
Yeah.
It's like if Jeff stopped saying, "I'll go tally the votes," you'd be like, what's going on? Up is down, left is right.
Sure. I think that there's some things, that are tradition, that, and then people are just attached to the tradition. But I think with a lot of stuff these days, we have to be able to analyze those traditions. And just,
for sure.
Like, is this a good tradition? Is it a bad tradition? Is it a tradition worth carrying on? Do you know what I mean?
So do you think everyone was just caught up in day 1 of Survivor, that they just were like, yeah, Jeff, whatever, sure. So
Dude,
yes, sir, whatever.
No one wants to make themselves stand out in a good way or bad. It's like getting marked as a tribal leader. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
It's good, but it puts a target on your back. It can be good and bad. And I think, like, just watching everybody's faces when he's like, yeah, there's no rice, there's no, and it's like, wait, what? And they're all like, it felt like a little bit like, almost like the shock of like season 7 when they think they're doing like a promo, right? And then it's like,
right,
you're going into the game and they're all like, what? And you can see, the distress and panic on people's faces. And I don't get entertained by that necessarily, but it was like you could see everyone was like, "Whoa, okay, we're in for it. What's up?"
yeah.
Right? And I think everyone's still trying to figure it out, because it's like, I think especially some of the contestants, right? Are longtime fans. They've got the game probably mapped out in their head, like how it's right. And this season is just turning everything on its ear. And I think, nobody really wanted to have an opinion or like, stick their foot in their mouth, proverbially. Right. Like, I don't know. That's, okay. I think.
Well, that takes us to Jeff's first, I guess the first challenge, really, where there's 6 oars around the boat. Now, normally in previous seasons, he's like, gather as much stuff as you can, get it onto your boat and go. Yeah. He's like, there is nothing on this boat but 6 oars you all have to find and get to your boat. And so everyone starts scrambling. And I will say, do you remember all 3 tribes' names?
I don't. I honestly, I should have done notes, but I'll just be honest with you guys, with the internet. I watched the episode like 3 times just to try and absorb it all. But having not been like as long a time fan as my brother, like I didn't. Yeah, I'll get it dialed in for next week. But yeah, okay. I think the blue one started with an L, and there's.
So we got for blue, it's Luvu.
Yeah.
In yellow, it's Yasa. Yeah. And in green, it's Ua.
Yeah.
Which I was like, Ua, really? I don't know. That's a weird tribe name.
I mean,
reminded me very military to me. It reminded me.
Yeah. It sounds like the whole Hua kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I kind of like it, and I felt like everyone seemed to really. All the tribes, they seem to really be happy with their names. Like, oh yeah, cool name. Like everybody, all the contestants were pumped, and that was the part that I liked about that. Everyone's like, yeah, all right, sweet. Everyone's looking beside each other. They're stoked. They're ready to go.
Sure, I'm in. Let's go. Yeah. So Luvu, first one to hit the water. Everyone gets in their boat.
Yeah.
And they start paddling away. I think it's Uwa's the next in the water, and then Yasa cannot seem to find a 6th oar.
And I like the moment. I like the moment when someone tries to crawl up behind Jeff, and he's like, "I promise it's not here. Just keep going."
Yeah. Oh, it's not up here. Like what? Like why would you think it's up there? Like Jeff's like.
Well,
it's obviously not going to be. If he didn't see anyone else crowding around Jeff during it, it's not there.
So, but like that moment when
but that's try anything. I get it.
But that moment when you're on the boat is like the frantic, and that's what I was thinking about earlier, like with this season and just how it is I really think like a a 30-second stop and look is going to go a long way for the contestants. And they just went into full panic mode, which is what I would do, which is what anybody would do in most seasons. And it's a small mistake that got missed. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, it's a big mistake, but it's kind of like, but I can see how it's an easy mistake to make, I guess.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So with Luvu and Ua in the water, Ua can't, or what is it? Luvu can't seem to paddle right. They're just not moving for some reason. Ua just takes off and comes back, and that's when Jeff points it out. You got to unclip the front and the back of your boat. You guys were dragging an anchor that whole challenge. Surprised they moved at all, realistically.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Jeff at one point goes, it looks like they were going backwards. Yeah. Because they were.
Again, that 30 seconds to get the details right. Do you know what I mean?
It's unbelievable, yeah.
And, and so really, they placed kind of, a clear first, second, third. But, two teams made some pretty simple mistakes. Again, I'm not shaming anybody. I think they're easy mistakes to make in the frenzy, and that's kind of part of what's cool about Survivor is can you catch all the details? Are you fast enough, but also smart enough, also savvy enough? Do you know what I mean? I was kind of surprised, when they were throwing oars off the boat and the first people jumped into the water, I was kind of hoping someone was going to swim over to the other team's oars and start pushing them away. That's what I wanted. I was like, dude, or as you're on the boat, it's like,
that'd be a good idea. I like that. Yeah.
Season 7, stealing the shoes, man. You can be cutthroat. It's that kind of game, right?
Yeah.
I would have been tempted to grab an oar and just dump it off the other side of the freighter ship. Do you know what I mean?
That's pretty smart.
For a minute, I was kind of wondering if that's kind of what happened until they did that little highlight on the oar, the yellow oar. I was like, oh, did someone shove that under something?
Yeah, I was waiting for the camera to be filming one survivor and then suddenly go there's the oar right there. They're not seeing it, and go right back to that's what I was waiting for. But they did the highlight thing almost. But yeah, it's it's right here and they don't see it. Yeah. So what is it? Ua wins Flint, a machete and a pot. No rice. No nothing.
Oh, that's so savage.
Not even you'd have to think there's going to be a fishing spear coming up as a reward some point, right?
Well, or maybe
there's a bag of rice.
There's a bag of rice, or do you know what I mean? But everything's really designed to be accelerated. The level of thought they put into it, I think, is amazing, because when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, there's so many layers here.
Oh yeah. It's like an onion. One of the survivors even says when they get back to camp that even in season 1 they gave everyone canned food. In season 1 Borneo there was canned food. It was just this is even worse than season 1. It's nuts. Yeah. So they get back to camp. What did you think of this water challenge?
Okay, so
essentially, hold on. I'm just going to lay it out before we discuss. They get to camp and they're either told they can count how many triangles they are on this picture, or they can fill 2 barrels filled with water. You've got 4 hours to do it, and you get a machete and I think a pot and flint. They all got it, but no one even discussed the triangle thing, because both teams decide to do the water thing, and I'm just nobody even thinks of triangles.
So the guy that's the neurosurgeon, I said it best. He was like, man, anytime you're separated from your tribe, it's bad news. He's like, now, and I didn't want to do this, and now I'm walking around like an idiot, and I was just so with him,
Oh, I know. But what is he supposed to do?
Well,
Xander, the young guy on the tribe, is like, yeah, sure, we can do the water thing. We're both strong guys. Yeah, why not? And the neurosurgeon's like, what do you say? You what do you say?
There's no good answer.
Okay. There's no good answer other than
no good answer.
Let's do it.
And so that's exactly why I think people didn't deal with the hey, come on in, guys. In the beginning, it's like, what do you don't want to, right? And
Right.
I think he's absolutely right. And it's like now you're stuck laboring. So again, it's just for a flint pot and rice. It's or a flint pot and machete. It's not like you're getting food. So now you're expending all that energy when you don't know when food's coming yet. And I'm like, I'm surprised nobody did the triangles. Now I know the caveat to the triangles was you only get one guess, but it's like, and that's the other thing. Like, we were talking before the show about this. Is like, so okay, so yeah, you got to vote. I mean, I guess you never want to vote somebody out, but it's not like you're not getting fire when you go to get the vote, right? Like,
True.
but yeah, I'm surprised nobody did the triangles because like, in 4 hours, I'm pretty sure you can get all that stuff figured out, right? But it makes sense to me that, there's a couple people that were like, yeah, okay, let's do this, right? To try and score some brownie points, and everyone else is like, yeah, sweet, let's get 2 people off to the side. One of them's getting voted off. If they don't do it. It was such a double-edged sword, and I was like, oh man, like the water did not seem like a good idea for anybody in my
I
mind,
know,
right?
but both teams had a couple of eager beavers on them. Like, for example, Luvu had Danny, the ex-football player,
Yeah.
who's like, "Yeah, whatever. Let's just work. Let's just." What were the two options? It was sweat and I can't remember what the other one was. It was sweat and something. Those are the two options, and everyone just smart, sweat and smart. Maybe I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
But so Danny on one tribe's like, yeah, let's just do it. And everyone's like, yeah, okay. And then what Xander on the neurosurgeons tribe is like, yeah, whatever, I can do it. So Xander is, I can't remember the neurosurgeon's name, but
I can't either.
He had no choice. Anyway.
Yeah.
So both teams get it done. But during Luvu's search for doing the water, they decide to do some idol hunting. Why not?
Yeah, well, so that's really the only. Well, that's really the best reason to be one of those two people is so you can get out of the limelight, or I mean, to me, like if I'm doing that challenge with somebody, I'm like, okay, you and me till the end. We got to get a couple allies when we get back to camp. But like once you're singled out like that, I feel like you're it's really smart to like stick together and try and get some kind of advantage out of that, right? Because
good point.
You're burning energy when you, like I said, when you don't know when food's coming. Like, yeah, they absolutely, like, I'm surprised that all 4 of them weren't Iowa hunting, like all 4 of the sweaters.
Well, I mean, they didn't show Xander or the neurosurgeon searching. They seemed like they're just get this done as quick as possible kind of guys.
Sure.
But while Luvu is idol hunting, Nasir spots them not doing the water thing, spots them searching for idols.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you agree with his? He decides to go back in camp and just spill the beans and goes, "Hey, they're looking for idols." But even though he said no strategy till you guys get back from this water challenge, would you have jumped on that, or would you have just kept that in your back pocket? Because I don't know if I would have been so accusatory on day one.
I wouldn't have been. No, because that's a good way to get yourself singled out. Like, I mean, we'll get at the end of the episode, we'll talk about it. But, one of the people that gets voted out this episode, I think that's why they got voted out as being too accusatory. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have spilled the beans. I probably would have, gone after and be like, hey, man, how'd you make out? You want help? Like,
just like drop a hint. Like, I saw what you were doing.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't tell anyone because me and you are buds, but I know what's up.
Right? Yeah. That's what I would have done personally. But I mean, just because that's what I would have done. I mean, that's the right answer. But
those two people are doing something for your tribe. I mean, yes, they're trying to benefit themselves with getting brownie points, but
yeah.
Do you want to carry that water for 4 hours from the beach to those buckets? That just
again,
just be quiet, man.
That's why it's a new era. I really think the team of producers for the show this season, like they're so on point with this, because what do you do? What is the right decision? And it's really hard. Like there isn't really a right or wrong. You kind of have to read the people you're around and hope that your choice plays out well with the personalities there. But I mean, that's the thing. You could do that water challenge and then still get tossed.
Yeah.
When people give up advantages, like late game, Jeff's always like, yeah, it's never a good idea to give up an advantage, right? So it's like if he has that intel, well, I mean, if he doesn't spill the beans right away, it still could be an advantage, but that is kind of an advantage that he can capitalize on at that time, being like, hey,
I think if you're gonna get on your tribe mates for searching for idols, make sure they're not also doing something to help your entire tribe. Like,
sure, yeah,
anyway, so after they all get water, they all manage to do it in 4 hours. Xander looks like he died. Like
yeah,
as soon as he finished, he just collapsed. I don't know if it was, I think it was the guy who was doing it with Danny was
yeah.
like, that's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. And it's like,
Which team was it? One of them, their log broke.
oh, that was great. Right before our commercial break, it was Danny and it was Luvu.
So
Where they're like, yeah, all we got to do is do this, and suddenly the log breaks, and they both just look at the log like, oh man.
Did they get a replacement log?
It looked like they just, by the end of it, it looked like they were just carrying. They tried to do the simple tool thing, but they were just single-handedly one pot each. It looked like that's how they did it. Appreciate them, like good effort on trying to do the log thing. That's smart, but
yeah. Oh, the log thing. Oh, so they just found the log. I thought maybe the log might have come with the pots or something.
No, they just found a log and they were like, let's try and work smart, not hard. And then the log breaks and it's like, no, I guess we got to work hard. No option.
Oh man.
Yeah, smart was triangles. You that ship sailed. The smart play is gone.
I mean,
carrying water.
It's hard work, man. Like I do trade work. Like I've had days where I literally my entire life was just carrying heavy things back and forth.
Yeah, point A to point B.
Oh man, and it's not a happy existence. You got to like just meditate, stare into the distance, and just pretend that your legs aren't burning. And you don't, like.
Now they did. There's a couple instances because after this they go to all three tribes and they show them doing the water and they show other people talking. Did you have, because I haven't really, let me see if I can actually find a list here of all of the survivors. So for example, for what's the yellow tribe again? Yasa. So Yasa, we have Evie.
Right.
The shorter girl with glasses.
Yeah.
The looks like a female Cochrane kind of thing.
Okay.
And then we have
on the yellow tribe. I like
the
her.
Yellow tribe.
I like her.
Then there's Tiffany. Tiffany's kind of the older mom kind of character. Yeah. It's the neurosurgeon's called Voce or Voce. VOCE. I don't know. I don't think I heard them pronounce that too much.
Okay.
Then you got Xander. Then we got Liana.
Yeah.
And there's one more I'm forgetting. And Abraham.
Okay.
That's your Yasa tribe. For Luvu, which would be blue, we got Danny. We already talked about him, ex-football player.
Right.
We got Deshaun. Erica. Let's see. I'm trying to Sydney. And Nasir.
Yeah.
And then for Ua, I'm reading like an article here. It doesn't give me a full list, so give me a second here. So for Ua, we got JD. We got Shan. I like Shan, but we'll discuss that later.
Shan, what does Shan do?
Shan's the pastor from Canada.
I like her too. I just like how she's like, I'm a mafia pastor. Like, I will console you as
do you want the exact quote?
Yeah,
you want the exact quote?
I really do.
A lot of people think that pastors, like, they can't play this game. They can't play this game well because they're soft and they want to take the high road all the time. Listen, I'm a mafia pastor, okay? I'm half Italian, half Jamaican. That means I'm cutthroat, okay? Like, I will pray for you and walk you out the door at the same time. I have no problem doing that. That's the full quote. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Dude, what was
that one talking head just made me like, I'm gonna go out and buy a Shan shirt tomorrow and go Shan.
Well,
like, it was
totally.
I'm in.
Because like I like that she's honest that she wants to play, whereas and not to hate on certain people, but like a guy like Coach that really pretended to be very moral and then was very backhanded in the end. I like that she's just like, I'm coming to play. Like, yeah, I have a faith and I have a belief, but we're playing a game and I'm here to do it. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm excited to see what she does.
Yeah. Definitely not a Brandon where her faith limits. Because because there's been so many players that have either double crossed their faith or it limits what they can do in the game.
Right.
And I don't feel like Shan's limited with
Yeah.
because of her beliefs. I definitely
Yeah.
don't think that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And so everyone else on that tribe, we got Sarah. Yeah, we'll get on to Sarah. Then we got Jeannie, and the guy with he'll blind you with his smile, Brad, the cattle rancher.
Oh man, I don't know. I kind of like the cattle rancher guy.
When I first saw a picture of him, like just based on looks alone, didn't hear him talk, I was like, is this going to be our new like Philip or like Coach? Is he going to be just a character to the extreme that's going to make it all the way to the end?
Well,
yeah. Anyway, they didn't show much of a first night. It seemed like it's just day 2. They all get someone arrives at their camp on a boat. And they all have to vote on who's going to go on this like retreat or summit, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Would you want to go?
I mean, probably not.
Because they did spend a good 10 minutes of.
It's the same logic as it's the same logic as the water challenge, right? It's like, so, I mean, you have to know going in that there's gonna be something poignant that's gonna happen. It's like 3 people, winning the reward on family visit and getting to go spend that time, and they get to go and plan something. And you have to know with the smaller teams, like the merge is going to be coming much quicker this season. So I don't think people are going to be looking to get as entrenched with the 6 players that they're with now. They're going to be looking to have a foot in the other door. So I don't know. Now that I'm talking about it, I might want to go.
See, I'd probably be on the side of wanting to go.
Okay.
I think because I was thinking the people that go on this were going to come back with either rice or some sort of advantage or an idol.
Sure.
And so what ends up happening, so the people that are chosen, we got JD from UA, the young track and field, he was state champion twice, apparently, track and field. Good job. Danny, the ex-football player. I should look up what team he played for, but I can't remember. And Xander, the bro from Yasa. Yeah. And as soon as those 3 were picked and they all meet up on the beach and they're like, hey, what's up? I'm like, I like these guys. Yeah. They all need to make it to the merge and have an alliance. They need it so bad. I like all 3 of those guys. They get told they have to go on a trek up the mountain and get to know each other better. So they go on this trek up the mountain, and I've got an immediate problem here. Okay. They go on a trek up the mountain, stand on this wooden platform while a helicopter does a really cool 360 shot. Yeah. And then they just walk back down the mountain. Like, seems like a really ridiculous photo op kind of thing.
Well, I think it's like they're not giving them any freebies, but I think the whole idea is they're getting separated from their tribes. So obviously that's a disadvantage with their relationship with their tribe. So it has to be made into enough time that it is a real advantage for them. Plus, if it were kind of a fakey thing where you didn't come back tired and kind of pissed off, like how do you sell it to your tribe as not something where you just sidelined with one member of every other tribe?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I guess it had to be difficult.
It kind of makes it sellable for the players that they've, pulled away. Otherwise, the producers just kind of targeting them. Do you know what I mean? Like, here you guys go. Like when you guys are going to tribal tonight, here's your person. You can all vote out. You can campaign against them all day, right?
So have you I always kind of this is something I did a bit of a deep dive on. Do you know what the prisoner's dilemma is?
So I have to admit I don't. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
I paused the episode and Googled it. Yeah.
Well, that's why I did it. That's why I watched it a couple times and I was trying to lay it out for me.
So the traditional prisoner's dilemma is you have two people you arrest or they're put in jail, and
Right.
you're like, if you rat out your friend, you get to go scot free, and they'll take more time in jail.
Right.
Or they could rat you out, and you'll spend more time in jail, and they'll go scot free. Or no one says a word, and you guys both go to jail, but probably for not as long, like
Right.
amount of time.
Right.
So that's the idea: is will everyone worry about their interests versus other people? Like
Right.
it's I don't know. I did a lot of Googling about it, because as soon as they get back to camp, everyone's like, oh yeah, the prisoner's dilemma. Yeah, I know what that is. And I was like, how does everyone know what this is but me? And I pull out my phone and start Googling it. So essentially, they all have the option to either A, protect their vote, or
Right.
B, risk their vote.
Right.
Anyone who protects their vote is fine. Nothing happens. No harm, no foul. If
Right.
you risk your vote, you lose your vote at next tribal, but you get an extra vote that can be used at any time until there's 6 players left, I think.
Right. Okay.
So when I first saw that, I'm like, how is any of these guys, let's say they all decide to risk their vote and get the extra vote, how is any of them going to go back to their camp empty-handed and try and make it seem like, no, trust me, I didn't do anything shady. Like, trust me. It's like, I was like, the fact that they're not giving them anything, because I've seen previous seasons where someone comes back from that with a bag of rice, and it's a small bag of rice because they got a advantage, and they're like, trust me, it could have been smaller, and everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah. And it's like, so I was really surprised. I was curious how all 3 of these guys were gonna sell it back to their tribe.
Yeah.
They only show one result. I think they only show JD. No, they only show Danny doing the protect his vote. The other 2, they don't tell you yet.
Yeah.
After that, oh yeah, then they all come back to camp and try to sell it.
Yeah.
How do you think they all did?
I mean, I thought they all did pretty good. I mean, the one thing that I find ironic about this is that there was no way that any of them were coming back with anything to show for it. So no matter what choice,
all they have is a story.
So no matter what choice they made, they still have to do a song and dance and sing for their supper. Yeah. Do you know? So I know what you mean. In hindsight, I kind of thought more people were going to risk their vote, just because, well, I guess if it goes to a vote and there's a vote that's missing, then everyone's going to kind of know. But I don't know how the whole 17 or 16.7% chance.
Oh, nice.
Thing,
yeah, I
right.
remember that.
How that works. Do you know? And how, are people, it's first vote. People don't know each other's handwritings yet. I know I've seen past seasons where people put little symbols and stuff to kind of, they must do that as like a verification.
I'm voting you out, right? Smiley face. Yeah. Yeah.
Or just tell your team, like, you'll know my vote because I'm going to put a heart on it or something. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
But like really, it comes up, like a couple times, like I can't remember what team is Sarah on? Is it the green one?
Sarah's on.
It's a green one, right?
Jeez, let me double check. Hold on, my notes. Yeah, it's green.
So,
green.
So, and who is so she was the one that was kind of the most suspicious, and like rightfully so, and like you're saying, being a longtime fan, yeah, obviously, like if you come back with no rice, like I don't know, can I believe you? But that's the thing that's so savage about this season is that there was never going to be any rice for them to bring back. So they're just rocking a hard place situation. Do you know what I mean? It's such a double-edged sword. I almost feel like with the position that they're put in, like they almost all should have taken the risk. Because
do you want to know? I think who played it the best is Xander.
Okay.
Because Xander even says, he's like, yeah, I don't know why people lie to their tribe about this stuff.
Yeah.
He just kept his story exactly. He just said it, and everyone's like, yeah, he's probably too dumb to lie to us. Yeah, okay. And he even says in one of his talking heads, he's like, I don't get why people lie about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he was totally lying, but the way they gave the three guys a scenario that all they had to do was explain it fully, and are you trustworthy or not? Right? They
Yeah.
didn't have to go, this bag of rice could have been smaller. They didn't have to say any of that.
Yeah.
And so just enough of the details made people go, yeah, I trust you. He wouldn't make that much stuff up.
Well, so that's the thing, right? But I think what would have been like, well, I mean, I guess they had no way to know. Well, did they have to make the decision at the top and then they walked back, or do we think they got the helicopter ride down off the mountain?
That's a good
'Cause,
question.
like-
It looked
'cause, like-
like they stood at the top and then had to go their separate ways to go make this decision by themselves. But I
Right.
don't know if they did it one at a time. Did they all go to 3 separate ship wheels, or did
So
they
like,
reset it every time and just
I-
film 3 different scenes?
I guess what I'm saying is, like, if they're really smart, savvy players and hike up the mountain, they'd be like, okay, guys, so we're gonna get questioned when we get back, and work out your story on the way up the hill.
Well, see,
do you know what I mean? Craft
I think-
your
I think that's what Survivor was trying to get them to do, where it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
walk up the hill, get to know each other better.
Yeah.
Don't find out where you went to high school. Like, really
No,
game,
make a
you know
plan.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Seemed
It
like
was
I
an
talked a bunch.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And true, but like, yeah, it's like I said, man, there's so many layers to this season. It's so good. There's so many different things that could have happened with this, and it's like, wow, man, it's I don't envy them to
I
to
know.
be in the spot that they're in. Like, I don't know that I'd be able to make the best decision. Like
Yeah.
this, like the difficulty level has been upped.
100%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they all explain their stories. Everyone seems to believe them. Now we get to challenge time.
Yeah.
First challenge in like a year and a half, almost
Yeah.
2 years. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I liked this challenge. It seemed good. It had all the elements of a challenge, like work hard, multiple stages. I was really shocked. So essentially, they had to get sandbags, put them on a belt or a conveyor belt. Then they had to push it to the other end of a track, take those sandbags off, put
Yeah.
that in like a weird sort of coffin kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then carry that up a huge flight of stairs. Now, Luvu was in the lead. And I think it was Nasir is taking sandbags back to where you have to put them before to go on to the next stage.
Mm-hmm.
He puts one on a pile, and it just sort of flops over. It's like, I don't know, 30% on the marker.
Right.
And Jeff lets Nasir run all the way back to the front of the track to help his team out. And then he goes, hey, wait a minute. I'm like, dude, Jeff, you got to be... I
That's what I mean.
feel like he could have told them sooner. I feel
Well,
like
normally-
Jeff missed that one.
Well, normally he'd just be like, and it's not quite on the mark yet. It felt right. Like
Right.
there'd be a play-by-play, but I mean, like I said, this season really feels like, you got to be able to take the extra couple seconds to pay attention to detail, or
It does
something's
seem,
really gonna hurt you. And maybe that's the thing. It's like playing a video game and having the hint mode off or on. Like, there's no hint
right.
mode
Do you have a
this
mini
season.
map or do you not? How
Yeah.
quickly can you do the level? Yeah,
There's no mini map on this one. This is like survival version. Like, health packs are limited. Like, the zombies are tougher.
You're
like,
only
you're
getting
in
ammo
for-
from guns you pick up, not from killing guys. Yeah, super hard mode. Gotcha.
Right? Yeah, it feels that way, man. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's actually a pretty good challenge because the other two teams are in the lead. When that happened, and I saw Luvu have to restart some of it, I'm like, oh man, they ended up actually going toe to toe with Uwa, the Green Tribe. They both get to the top of the tower and get to start working on their puzzle.
Yep.
And actually, good point, Drew. This was very detailed episode because what happens to Uwa here?
The puzzle piece, man, the puzzle piece. And we'll talk more about it later, but I like how some players were like, nah, that's an old school Survivor ideal. Like, you made this small mistake, so you're marked.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to be less petty and really assess who we've got skill based, again, like, I think both are right.
I'm
like,
surprised the camera
you
didn't catch it. I thought
I mean, it's like the oar, it's like the anchor, right? The puzzle piece is just another, and the sandbag. The puzzle piece is just another one of those things. You got to have your eye on the ball this season, and
Mhm.
if you life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop, look around a little while, right? You just might miss it. And
Thanks, Ferris. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I know,
So I
broken
mean,
record,
they're
but I really
all
feel like
yeah, they got to work on this puzzle, and I mean, I guess Sarah's going to get blamed for it. We'll see what happens coming up here when we discuss
yeah,
tribal council. But
yeah.
I'm really shocked the camera didn't at least be like, "Oh, there's a piece in that bag," but no one knows it. They just it
Well,
wasn't. I didn't even. I was like, "What's going on?" Like they were in the lead, and suddenly someone's like, "There's a piece in the bag," and I'm like, "What?" It was. I was blowing my mind watching it.
but
Now,
maybe
really quickly,
yeah.
did
Okay.
you notice the little puzzle they've started to add into every episode?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god, let me see if I can find it for you. I want to
What
see if
is
you
it?
can get this. Well, they do little picture puzzles now. They're doing in every single uh yeah, they're doing puzzles in front of every episode or in the middle of challenges. They'll zoom in on
Okay.
like let me see if I can find it.
Sure.
But they've added puzzles into every episode, just a little picture and a couple of tiny pictures, and you just have to figure out what word it was. Let me just see if I can't get a picture of this really quick. Oh, I guess I got to write Survivor. I can't just type episode 1 puzzle. But yeah, when Jess and Mom were watching it, there we go. When Jess and Mom were watching it, they were texting me immediately like, "Oh, do you see what the puzzle is?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got it." It took me a second, but I
Yep.
was pretty quick. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Add an overlay. There we go. So tell me if you've got any ideas what that says. Work it out.
Uh,
Just say what you see, because I had to literally speak out loud a couple times in order for me to get it.
well, is it a minus sign?
Yeah. So it's
So shake on.
Sunday minus the day or minus the sun.
Oh, I thought it was shake. I was gonna go shake Sunday. It's like too tall to be a Sunday. Anyways, okay. So
That's a
Sunday
cherry on
minus
top.
sun. Sure. Soda
The
milkshake
next one
sometimes though.
is a wand minus D.
So okay, so day one,
And then A plus 2
A
lines.
lines.
Day
Oh.
1 alliance. Day 1 alliance. I can't wait for next week's. That's gonna be like legit my secret. Oh, I gotta put the thing up.
Oh no, you're
That's
good.
gonna be my secret favorite thing about every episode. Is I'm gonna wait for that puzzle, and I'm gonna try and get it first and time myself and see how quickly I can get them. Because I'm not gonna lie, day 1 alliance that took me longer than it should have. I really, as soon as I figured it out, I was like, "You're an idiot, Dave.
Well,
You've watched Survivor for this long."
it really looked like a milkshake to me. I was like,
Milkshake is in a glass. Hold on. That's in a glass. It's a cherry on top.
Sundays normally come in a cup.
Oh, okay. Well, this could be
I
a
worked at Dairy
Canadian
Queen.
American
I
thing.
worked at Dairy Queen. I think Dairy Queen's the same everywhere. I don't
What?
know.
It could be an American Canadian. Like if I was gonna draw a Sunday, that would kind of be what I'd do. But anyway, it's all good. Neither here nor there.
I'm trying to Google Sunday cups right now. Okay, anyways. Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't have got it.
Oh, I actually completely forgot to mention this. Before this challenge,
Yeah.
this is where Rickard or Ricard steps up
Right?
and says, "I don't want it to be come in guys anymore." Now,
Okay.
and so that's when everyone's like, "Oh yeah, good call," and it's like, okay, just I would have liked a conversation back at camp. I would have liked to see other tribes talking about it before it gets brought up to Jeff. I would have liked to see at least Ricard say something to a camera before he brings this up.
Sure.
It seemed out of place. That's all.
I think I mean, I agree, but I think, you know, it's a new format. They've got, so many less days. There's so much less time. Like everything is going to be more fast paced. So I think things this season are going to feel like it was a little bit of like, whoa, and then disappears. And we're like, what was that?
Yeah,
Do
good point. Good
Just
point.
because, and something that I didn't mention before, but I've always wanted to see on the show, and this season finally getting it, is those pan back shots where you see the whole crew and everything that's going into it
Yeah.
when they're having, well, actually, when they originally had the conversation about is this phrase appropriate, that was kind of one of the initial times in the episode where you see them pan back, and then it goes back to down to just, you can see Jeff,
Yeah.
on your left, and then the three tribes. And I love that behind the scenes, like when they're talking like, okay, Survivor season 41, go. And I was like, oh, this is it. Like it was,
Yeah,
I like that
liked hearing
behind
that.
the
Yeah.
scenes. Yeah. Like
all the people on the headset being like camera 1, camera 2.
yes,
We're go for, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
You don't realize there's 200 people not on camera. Like there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the survivors are just starving, being like, you guys had lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Like, we got rice.
Oh my God. Like, but they don't have rice right now, though.
They don't even have rice.
Anyway,
yeah,
I know.
What did you think? Because Jeff also before the challenge explains the shot in the dark mechanic.
Yeah, I love
what did
that
you think
mechanic.
of that?
I think it's
really
awesome. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man.
So like, you're never really out.
Well, it's because it was one of the things that always bugged me about the game is like first vote, you can get turfed, and like there's times when it just doesn't seem fair. Do you know what I mean? And I like that at least people have a recourse. They still have a shot in the dark. They can still take that one last swing, and I can't wait till somebody takes it and gets it, man. Oh my God, and just turns the whole thing on its ear. I really want to see that very badly.
They essentially gave every player an idol, but it's a very, very specific sliver. Like it's an idol sliver.
It only works on a 1 on a D6, basically.
Yeah,
a little bit less, right?
Pretty much, right?
Roll a 1.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Roll a 1 to stay in the game. Yes.
Oh, that's such a nuts ability.
Yeah, I wonder if when they do it, if we're gonna get to see the result like before the votes are read, or if it's gonna come out after. I don't know how that's gonna play out. I can't wait for that mechanic to come into play. I love it.
I actually think they did it for a reason. I think they're trying to promote blindsides.
Well, so that's
right,
the thing.
Because if no one thinks they're going home, they're not going to take their shot.
So then it's almost like you got to make your kills a little bit cleaner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
If it's too messy and they see it coming, then they might be able to roll a defensive skill, right? Oh, magic missile, right?
Because before there was seasons where someone's like, "Oh, just tell me if I'm going home," or people would know they're going home. And now, if they know they're going home, there's what was the number? The neuros. Gotta figure out how to pronounce his name, but
Jeff said 17%, but he said by the math it actually works out to 16.7, which I like.
The neurosurgeon was like, 16 point whatever, and Jeff's like, I know, I just said 17. Come on, man. Like,
but I like how Jeff was like, I was guessing. I'm like, dude, you weren't guessing, man. You came up with the rule. Don't give me that, Jeff. Like, come on.
So you think he's like going, like, as soon as the camera goes cut, he goes to one of his research teams and be like, I told you someone would guess the exact percentage by the decimal point. And the writer's like, I just rounded up. Sorry. And Jeff's like, you're fired. Like, maybe.
I like how homie figured that out without a calculator, but I guess I don't know how much math.
He's a neurosurgeon. That's a lot of schooling, dude.
Oh, it is. It's an immense.
Actually, how much math is really involved in neuroscience?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. And that was the thing. I guess when I thought about it, like my job, there's some math involved. I didn't think there was going to be as much math as it is, but even though I'm good at my job, I don't use that math every day. Do you know? Like I don't whip out my calculator or calculate. Like it's not often that I really have to crunch numbers. There's stuff within ranges, but I don't know what neuroscience is like. So, maybe there's a lot of numbers that guy has to crunch. Maybe he's just really gifted with that kind of like that part of his brain and how he thinks. He's just like, oh, that's like a little bit
Is
of a Rain Man kind of a thing, right?
Is that 17% literally just calculating what it is to like a 1 in 6? Is that like that number will change with less people on the tribe, right?
Well, let's find out. Hey Siri, what's 6 divided by 1? Or no, that's not right. Oh no.
1 divided by 6?
Hey Siri, what's 1 divided by 6?
1 divided by 6 is about 0.1666.
Yeah, but I needed my phone for that, so
Yeah, he's a neurosurgeon. It's a little bit different. A little bit different.
a little bit different. Yeah.
So then at this point, Luvu ends up completing the puzzle after having to go back. They crush that challenge. The other two tribes have to give up their flint.
Yeah.
And then everyone goes back to discuss. Sarah is in tears on Uwa. I was talking about this with Jess, and Jess was like, "You can't cry on your first day of Survivor. Come on." Yeah, our sister just did not have an affinity for Sarah. She's like, crying on your first day. This is Survivor, like Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own. There's no crying in baseball. Just seemed like she was like, there's no crying in Survivor. It's not even raining. Calm down.
Oh my god!
Like, wow, harsh.
But it's true though, right? It's like Johnny Fairplay with the you're giving me hearts and flowers right now. Do you know what I mean? Like if you lean too hard into the emotional part of it, the plight, whether whoever you are, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to have some people that are really you're gonna have to really be able to sell it, or you're gonna make yourself, I just how hard she was going at Buddy that went for the dilemma. And just the whole, even though she's right, like you said, someone comes back from a situation like that empty-handed, it's going to be sus, right?
Right. Yeah. Total sus.
And even still, just how hard she was going at it was really suspect, And I was just like,
yeah.
And
so I wrote down essentially Yasa is having a discussion whether it's Tiffany or Abraham.
Right.
So let's talk about Yasa for a bit. Abraham has been pushing Tiffany since day one, as he even said in an interview, like I need a fall guy.
Right.
So even on day one, he's like, "Oh, did you see the oars in the water? She was barely grabbing those oars." And everyone is like, "Okay, calm down." And that's the problem with being the accuser. That's like if you saw that guy sneaking around looking for an idol, would you say something? Right.
Right. And that's it'll be interesting a couple seasons from now when like no one wants to open their mouth about anything because the first person that opens their mouth gets it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. I couldn't believe he did because I was like, what do you need a fall guy for? You didn't do anything wrong, Abraham. Like, what do you mean a fall guy? You didn't screw up. You're just trying to go not me. Everyone was gonna not vote you anyways. He didn't need to make a big deal about it. But because he pushed so hard, everyone's like, "Oh, come on, Abraham. Okay, yeah, enough of this."
But isn't that what everybody wants to do, right? Like, quote Sandra, as long as it's not me, right? Like,
yeah, but he wasn't as long as it's not me. He was definitely not me, but definitely this person. And Sandra didn't do that. Sandra was like, whatever, I'll write down whoever.
He was laying track for the railroad too hard, right?
Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing, man. If you go too hard, like we've seen it time and time again, right? So, yeah, I get the logic, but yeah, it was too much. It was misfire.
Yeah. So, Tiffany wasn't getting voted out. I couldn't think of, as soon as Abraham did that on that tribe, there was no one else but him. Like, I don't think you need to, like, I heard so many people this episode being like, what about keeping the tribe strong? And I'm like, track 2 on Survivor's Greatest Hits. Awesome. Like, come on.
So here's the one thing that I'm kind of wondering why people are still saying that. And I can't remember the players that said it. Well, I'll find out eventually. I can go back. But, the puzzle piece, right? Sarah losing the puzzle piece, and one of her teammates being like, that's kind of old Survivor logic. Like, well, this person made this one mistake, so we're going to single them out. Maybe we need to be a little bit more evolved in our thinking and traditions and stuff, right?
For sure.
And I get that, and I see that. So here's the other thing. If I was on this season and like all the days are shortened, the parameters are changed, there's all these other things at play, can anyone right now that's still in the game really expect the game to unfold as it normally would? Because it hasn't been already. So I think that keeping the tribe strong, like, what if the next challenge comes out is not physical at all?
Well, right?
I'm kind of hoping, because like you're saying, track 2, Survivor's Greatest Hits, right?
Yeah.
I would really like to see the producers turn that on its ear this season and have them do something that, people, teams, they voted out the wrong person or something, right? And then they're like, oh, and really make players double guess. Because I have always kind of hated that, sort of thing, right? And it does kind of take some of the interesting, like all these layers that they're adding when it becomes predictable who you need to vote out, right? That's kind of, and I know that you were saying that you thought the shot in the dark was to encourage blindsides, but maybe the shot in the dark is just to subvert that keep the tribe strong thing too.
Oh,
do you know?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Because I've always kind of hated that, the whole keep the tribes. Like I get it. I mean, I don't know.
I just feel like more Cochran's should win than Tony's. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not. Trust me,
but
I'm not.
It seems like it's a game built around Tony, Rob. Like it's not built around Cochran's or. Geez, I'm trying to think of some other players. What was his name from the David versus Goliath? The nerdy guy on that tribe. I really liked him too.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh shoot, I can picture his face. Anyway, so I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that specific tribe going forward because Abraham's gone. Did not beat Tiffany.
And I felt bad. You hear him walk away. He's like, "Damn, I did not see that coming." Like, and he wasn't even that mad. He was like, "Oh, good play, you guys. Damn it. How did I? Okay." Like he was, he was trying, but
So, but now we're going to get into actually one of the things I've been waiting to talk about this whole episode.
Yeah, okay.
So we go over to the Uwa tribe.
You want to do this?
Which is trying to decide if Sarah's the weak link because of the missing puzzle piece, or is JD just a bit too much? Do we just need to get rid of JD? He's trying too hard. Now Rickard, Sarah, Shan are all talking, and then who walks up? It's the farmer rancher Brad with the winning smile, and they try to pitch him, well, let's vote out JD. And he's like, nah, I think we need to keep the tribe strong. Again, it happens every season. Someone says it. And then he's like, nah. And I'm like, whoa, well, who would you vote out? And Brad sits there in front of 4 other people on his tribe and goes, it's you or you, in my opinion. Like, what are you doing, Brad? What are you doing? You've watched the show, right? Like, come on. That blew my mind. I was like, Brad.
Yeah.
Killing me.
I liked the rancher saying when they get to tribal and he tries to plead with Jeff's like, hey, bro, can we cut a deal and we just won't put anybody out? Nudge.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think I have that written down too. Let me see if I can find it here.
Yeah.
Where does he say it?
But it was A for effort on that. It was like, I was like, nice, trying to make plays first tribal, right? Because, I don't know, trying to work outside the rules and get something going, like, because it has happened in history, right? So it's like, yeah.
Oh, quick thing I forgot to mention on that last tribal. It's revealed that Xander gets an extra vote because he risked his vote.
Yeah, which was awesome. I don't know. I kind of wish more people would have gone with that, but.
We'll get to it later. But so far, Danny kept his vote safe, and Xavier took Xander. I'm gonna say Xavier instead of Xander so much this season. So Xander gets the new vote. So they all sit down, And you know, Jeff's doing the standard stuff where he asks everyone questions and he's trying to get more answers out of people. And then while JD is talking and giving a relatively long-winded answer,
Yeah.
the camera pans to like three other people. Like Rickard is talking to I can't remember who's all in the discussion, but they all start talking and Jeff's like, are you not going to address that? And this is when I was like, JD, you're my guy, because he's like, live tribal, we're doing it, okay, and he gets up and oh
I loved it.
man,
I loved it. I loved that. That was awesome. That was like, I feel like it was like
Yeah.
season 34. It was a Brad Culpepper season, I
Mhm.
think. That like the
it
first
was a Brad
first
Culpepper
time I
season.
ever saw that, and it was like wildfire, and I was like, oh, here we go. Like I have always felt as a newer Survivor fan that it really felt pre-planned, like before they get there, everybody kind of knows what's up. And I like that idea of it, being kind of turned on its side that way, right? Where it's like, oh, wait, what's going on? And people having to scramble in the moment, and suddenly the people that thought that everything was all good, maybe it's not all good. Just that, instead of like signing the lease, you're still going month to month, moment to moment, like keep people honest. You know what I mean? I love that kind of thing.
For a brief second, I was super worried about Brad. when the rancher's looking around like, wait, everyone's talking but me, I'm like, that's a bad thing, Brad, that's a bad thing. Like, what? And he's just, everyone's talking, that's weird. And I'm like, come on, Brad, come on.
That's weird.
Yeah. Luckily Brad manages to make it through. I am surprised because I've got a website here showing all the votes. I was very shocked at Brad. Let's see. Oh, Rickard and Brad got a vote. Brad got a vote from Sarah because obviously she was going home, and Jeannie for some reason voted for Rickard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the older Asian lady was like, I don't trust that guy. Okay. I personally would have just gone with the numbers, but that makes it seem like she's maybe on the bottom if she doesn't know what's going on in her own tribe.
Well, I mean, it could be a thing like we're gonna see what she does, or one of those things like tell so and so to vote this, right? And then like a loyalty check kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
But I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as hardcore a fan, or as an adept a fan, I should say, as you. So some of this stuff goes over my head, and I need you guys to explain it to me a little bit. So I'm sure we'll be kind of coming back to these things at later on this season and be like, oh wow, remember when this happened? So that was,
So before we go, I would like to ask you a couple of questions. Do you have a top 3 picks for the season?
Okay.
Because I'm sticking with the 3 guys that went on that summit. I'm sticking with Xander, Danny, and JD. Those are my boys.
I like JD, but I like JD. I like the Mafia Pastor lady.
Oh, that's right, Mafia Pastor.
Yeah.
I'm swapping JD out for Mafia Pastor.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah.
And,
I like Xander, Danny, and the half Italian, half Jamaican Mafia Pastor. That's fantastic.
And what's the rancher's name?
Brad.
I kind of like just for the taking a swing at like, hey, if we give a little up, can we not vote somebody out? I don't know. There's something about that.
I think he's going to be a bit of a Boy Scout, where he's going to be a bit of a good guy. Like, he's not going to be a villain. He's not going to be a Ricard. He's going to be a good guy.
Yeah.
The neurosurgeon's probably going to be a bad guy.
I also like that, being that, I fix stuff for a living. I like that he fixes stuff, and like he works with the hands and stuff. So I can kind of, there's a little bit of, I mean, right now, those are probably my top 3. I really like JD being a super fan because, we all love Cochran and he was a super fan. I feel like if JD can play a little bit cooler, it's probably going to go a long way. I loved, and we didn't talk about this earlier, but that was probably my favorite moment of the episode because it's something you always say all the time. But he's like, "Yeah, I made Fire on Survivor. Box checked." I was like,
Yeah.
I was as happy as he was in that moment. I was like,
I
"Yeah,
know,
man."
I know.
Like,
I was like, good for
'cause-
you, man. Good for
dude,
you.
Because, dude, if I ever go on Survivor, that will be a source of pride for me. I'd be like,
That's-
I would not show up for that show without being able to do that well. Like, if you don't, like, I would, dude, I would be practicing that on the regular if like in waiting in the wings for the season to start. Absolutely. And I was like, yeah, man, like, that's the bomb. That was awesome. Maybe my favorite moment of the episode.
That's a very good point. What would be 3 things on your Survivor checklist that's not like winning, like personal things?
Oh, dude, win an individual immunity.
Hands down, yeah.
Hands down. Make fire.
See, I wouldn't put make fire. I would put find an idol.
Well, find an idol, yeah. I mean, of course, but that's a little bit dicier. People are gonna see you. Like, I'm just thinking.
I just want to find one. I'm not saying I'd play it correctly, but
Okay,
I want to
fair.
find one. I want a cameraman to watch me reach into a tree trunk, and I'm like, and then we both run off into the bushes where I unpack it and read the note in secret. I want that so much.
Dude, I mean, that would be my number 4, but my top 3, and not necessarily in this order, but it would still be make fire, win an individual immunity challenge would be the first, and then it would be make fire, catch a fish, or catch a fish and then make fire. But
I'd put catch a fish above fire,
because like, yeah, it's a social game. The idols, like all the mechanics, it's an amazing game. But just when I think about it, like that sense of triumph of like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And then when you get on the other side of that problem, you're like, yeah, I did that. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Like I said, like, part of my job is I fix problems, and there's always that moment of panic where you're like, you're starting the boss fight. You're like, oh no, am I going to be able to do this? And then when you get on the other side of it, you're like, yeah, I did that. That feeling of satisfaction is like one of my favorite things in life. So yeah, I mean, finding an idol would be satisfying too, but it doesn't have the same struggle as like winning a challenge, making fire. It's
the journey
like,
to get there
it's already there. You
just
gotta walk around. You just gotta walk around and be in the right place at the right time and poke in the right place. Do you know what I mean? There isn't really a struggle to finding an idol. It's more getting lucky or being smart as opposed to like the struggle. Yeah. It's like if the mountain's real small, you climb up it, it's kind of like, that's cool. But if the mountain's, like this and you get to the top, you're like,
yeah, good point.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Yeah, I just try to, like, every now and then we're talking about stuff and I just get sidetracked and I'm like, that is an interesting topic. Let's dive into that more.
Yeah, and actually, if people want to weigh in on that, like, what would be top 3s, of things you'd want to do on Survivor? Like, let us know. It'd be fun to talk about. We'll compile answers and.
Yeah, right up there at the top, talkingsurvivor@gmail.com. You can even tweet us. If we do start getting inundated with emails and tweets, we'll read them out for sure. Because I would like to hear other people's opinions and us discuss that. Because
absolutely,
it's a lot easier to talk about it when there's more than just 2 people having a conversation. Maybe someone thinks Danny's a big liar and should get voted out next. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, I think that's where we're going to end it. Thank you very much, Internet. We will be back next week for episode 2. And I'm thinking next week I'm going to start off with the puzzle. So take good notes next week. I'm gonna start with the puzzle.
Take notes. I got my homework.
I didn't want to do the same thing as I always did and did who said the title of this week's episode.
Did they even do that
They did. I decided not to start it.
Okay. I didn't take notes this episode. I'm gonna do my homework next time. I apologize.
It was Jeff's the one that said a new era. Yeah. It was right in his opening speech. It was a bit of a gimme. That's why I didn't want to start with it.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I didn't want to start with it. I was like, the puzzle will be the thing. Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. Bye-bye, Internet. See you in a week.
Take care, guys. Be safe.